Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament Weekly Broadcast. This is Nightcat and I will be your host for this week. And this week we have One Take Nightcat here, as I will be doing this all in one take. It's sort of like a throwback to the way that these used to be produced, but I'm just doing it due to time reasons and time constraints. So our first game here, we have Pathos spawning as the orange Zerg. Down at the bottom of Icarus, going up against Woolybot, spawning as the blue Protoss over on the left side. So for today, I have a selection of recommended games from the replay channel. So we should have some good games. I'm hoping that it'll be a decent length cast, because I just kind of grabbed and downloaded them in advance since I'm doing this in one take. At what I thought might be, an appropriate number of games for this length, so we will see if it all works out. But here we have Woolybot going with a 2-gate opener, which is something that you can do against Zerg. It is pretty safe. If you get 4 pooled, you should be able to defend it, that sort of thing. But typically a lot of Protoss will go for that sort of fast expand these days, but I don't know how fast expand really works. Like Forge Fast Expand on these older maps, like, for example, Python, it really doesn't work well. We have the Zerglings from the 9 pool coming in from Pathos. And we'll engage with the probes and the zealots. Gets 1 probe, 1 zealot for those 6 Zerglings. Not too bad of a trade, but could have been better. Probably would have been better to pull those back. We've got a 2nd hatchery started, and actually a 3rd hatchery. I thought that was going to be a creep colony. It looks like Pathos is going out to put some pressure, or sorry, Woolybot is going out to put some pressure onto Pathos. There is now a creep colony started, but will the creep colony become a sunken in time? These Zerglings trying to buy some time for that morph. The SimCity here maybe helping out the sunken finishes, but the drones are not... Wait. Casted this before, and I didn't. Alright, well, I have now punished myself for apparently not marking this as being cast. Because I'm pretty sure that I cast this because I remember the drones chasing the probe run. Well, we get to see this one a second time. Oh boy, we are off to quite the start for the one-take cast. We'll speed this up to 8 times just because it's kind of funny to watch the zealots just try to... We'll get up to 16, whatever. We'll let this... Okay, we got one less game than I anticipated because we've already seen this. Sorry about that. So typically we mark the replays, and I'm the only caster doing it right now, right? Which is fine. But I'm just saying, like, we typically mark the replays out of the replay channel as having been cast. And I remember casting this one, and the thing is, like, but I didn't cast it last week. I cast it, like, I think the time before, and I double-checked last week's cast for what I did. I was like, oh, I didn't do anything out of the recommended channel, and I looked at this one, I'm like, oh, this one isn't flagged as having been done. So I've punished myself doing a game that I've already done, because I didn't mark it. Anyway, let's go on to the next game. We have Infested Artosis spawning as the orange Zerg up at the top right of Andromeda, and we have Halpon spawning as the red Terran down at the bottom left of Andromeda. Andromeda is a bit of a weird map for AIs because depending on the terrain analysis that you're doing, you can end up like seeing a choke point here or something like that, and then like this, not considering this space as part of your main. These power stations here are kind of weird, because they open up this spot here, so like you can drop tanks or whatever there and do some stuff. So it's an interesting map that can be tricky for AIs. Also, the fact that they can kind of consider a choke point here. So like, yeah, I mean, this is kind of a second base, but at the same time, you might want to put like production or something down here. So like, I mean, Zerg, it doesn't impact as much, but like Terran, Protoss can really throw the AIs off, make them think like their main is only this big, minus the parts that are on the low ground up there, and so then they can't fit anything in their main. But we have a wall off coming from Halpon here. Not quite sure if that is a tight wall or not. We've got Infested Artosis here now. coming out with Lings. It's going to actually scout with them, as it did not send... Or it has an Overlord going out. Okay, it did send its initial Overlord out to the bottom right. Confirms that there's nobody there. And it will find Halpon here, and we will see if this wall is tight. It's actually going to attack the barracks here, and yeah, I think that might be a tight wall. Gonna go ahead and chase the Scout SCV with all the Lings. The Scout SCV's... Oh, wait, wall's up! Oh, and the wall's down. Oh, that Marine ended up on the wrong side of the wall there, and pays dearly with their life for it. Yeah, this SCV actually is, I think, keeping the Zerglings alive, allowing Infested Artosis to get a larger Zergling count instead of just being thrown at the wall here. But now we have a Vulture out, and Vulture speed's not researched yet. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you're going up at a faster speed than 1x. And actually, because the Scout's being chased, I guess Halpon hasn't found Infested Artosis yet, and so is instead scouting with this Vulture. Meanwhile, all the Zerglings really trying to chase down. Zergling speed finishes that. I think that allows Infested Artosis to catch that, and this Vulture could actually be caught too, potentially, if it tries to fight against these Zerglings. And there is a second Vulture out now being chased by the Zerglings, a third Vulture being chased by the Zerglings, so Zerglings doing a good job of just sort of keeping the Vultures out of their base by targeting, by chasing them, basically. It's kind of funny to see here, so... Oh, so here... Thought I heard like an air unit or something, but I guess I didn't. Maybe there's just something broken and something. Another Vulture down. Oh, there's enough Vultures here that they are starting to try and engage. They still don't have their speed, so they are taking some hits. They're getting spread out here now again by the Zerglings, which just are chasing them ad infinitum. I like that those three like branched off there. That's kind of funny. Yeah, neither player really pressuring each other as the Zerglings are just chasing these Vultures. Oh, and two of the Vultures kind of run into each other there, which causes a little bit of a problem, but works out a little bit better for the Vultures. Wow, this is just kind of... this is kind of funny here. The way this is working. Yeah, I mean, they're just continuing to chase. Okay, we have Hydras now in production. What upgrades do the Hydralisks have? Hydralisk speed is on the way. Goliaths are being started. Siege mode is done, so but the tank count is a bit low. Mines are out now, and so that will help the Vultures deal with the pursuing Zerglings if they can get the opportunity to actually lay the mines. With speed now, it looks like, yeah, speed is done. They're able to actually begin to pick off the Zerglings. But with the Hydralisks out, the Vulture count in the middle of the map starting to fall. The engineering bay being pulled back now, and now there's some pressure here up at the front. Tank doing some damage just to focus on the worker. I don't know if that was really the best approach here when there's tanks shelling at you, but Artosis getting up onto the ramp, but the army is looking a bit small right now, so Halpon's going to be able to push this back. A bit risky mines there, having the tank like directly on top of that. It's a good way to blow your own units up, pretty much. We have a tank getting caught out of position. Actually, there's nothing protecting these tanks. These tanks just exposed, getting picked off for free. Just from a really... Oh, those mines ended up working out. The bunker looks to be empty. Infested Artosis just charging in here with these units. If it's got the macro, this might be it for Halpon. But the mines are pretty scary, though. All the Overlords are just hanging out at the engineering bay for some reason. I guess they want to become engineers. Now, Infested Artosis charging into the main here. There is a tank trying to bravely defend here. A second tank as well now. But there's just more and more. So there's even drones getting in on the action. Okay. Meanwhile, back home, there's an evolution chamber up. We've got more hatcheries coming down. Don't see any... Okay, there is an expansion here at the mineral only. So Infested Artosis is expanding here. And I'm thinking the Infested Artosis has got this. It's got like the macro set up. It's spending its resources well. It does getting a glut of gas, but it's interesting that the drones, I guess the drones are coming out to fight because they don't have, or they probably feel like, okay, this base is saturated on a 1-to-1. This base is saturated like on a 2-to-1 or something like that. And so it's just like, send in the drones. But yeah, Infested Artosis taking the win there. Halpon just being, I think, a bit careless with its tanks. Leaving those tanks up at the front exposed instead of having them just sit back to defend from a safe position. Tanks in the Terran mech army are very... lifts the command center trying to run it away, but it's going to get shot down here. Or it's going to burn down, actually. If not get shot down by Hydralisks. But yeah, like, tanks are super valuable in a Terran mech army, and so to lose them is very, very painful. So that was very good game there by Infested Artosis to take that from Halpon, which is a very strong AI. Go ahead and get into our next game here, which is actually going to be a human versus AI game. So get that loaded up here. Looks like this one takes place on fastest possible map. And we have Crazio spawning as the green Terran up at the top left. One of the few AIs to fully support fastest play. And then we have our human player using their handle of Snail here. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's been a while since we've had a cast of a fastest map game, so this will be pretty exciting, I think. Looks like they're both like right about even. Crazio starting that barracks just ever so slightly before the human player, and also starting its gas a little early there. Going out and scouting with the SCV. Actually, I guess that barracks started a little bit early because human players throwing their barracks up there, while Crazio is throwing the barracks over up at the top left of the map. Sorry, just grabbing a drink there. I should have actually probably made sure I had a full drink before I started this. Another failure of the one take. But we'll make it through. Very forward bunker all the way at the end of the choke. Which actually probably is not the best part for it, because it gives your opponent this big wide space to engage, right? If it were back here, then then you have the big wide area to your advantage, and your opponent has to go through the tiny choke, which is why the human player here, Snail, has put their defensive position all the way back at the end. We've got the factories started. Actually, the factory's already done for Crazio. We have the starport starting up for Crazio. Engineering bay on the way for our Snail player. And we'll now go ahead and throw down a turret as well. Crazio has found Snail. First vulture is out. Actually, well, the third vulture, that is. There's already vultures hanging out here by the barracks, or bunker rather. So yeah, very interesting positioning here of the barracks and the engineering bay as well to sight, or well, I guess like position and sight see things. Human player going for 3 armories, so we'll probably see some air upgrades. I imagine that means that there will be like a transition. Oh no, 4th armory started now. There will probably be a transition to air units, or just to be able to transition to air units if needed eventually. Now Crazio is going to start shelling here at the front. There are 2 tanks here though for Snail. Wraith going to try and push that barracks back. This depot is going to fall, but now there are 4 tanks. I don't think there's quite enough for Crazio to be able to push this back. Or like break down this front. And now the tank production, the tank numbers are just going to get too high here for Snail. Crazio already taking an expansion, while the Snail player is quite content to sit on one base. So that's the thing, with expansions you can't get the maximum mining that you can from like your main, for example. Meanwhile, the worker count, Crazio is actually only at 36, while Snail's at 46. A lot of gas being mined for Snail, while Crazio, less refineries, but spending that money in gas very well. So a lot of wraiths out for Crazio. And now a Valkyrie out as well. A lot of sieging and unsieging from Crazio. Let's see what Snail's up to. Getting the science facility now, which will allow those level 2 upgrades to be obtained. Crazio only finishing their +1 weapons right now. Has 2 starports, has 2 factories. The human player looks like they're going to be going for massive air, so looks like they are going with a lot of wraiths. Crazio gets the scan off and does see what the human player is going for here. These wraiths will allow the human player, Snail here, to just sort of circumvent this contain that's out there, and with all of these tanks, I don't think Crazio is going to really be able to bust this front door down anytime soon. Now the human player pushing back Crazio's buildings here and picking off the wraiths. We can see the human player's wraiths working together because they're in a control group, whereas Crazio's units working a little bit more individually in terms of their ability to dip in and out of range. But the wraiths of Snail actually pushing this back a little bit, trying to pick off this tank here, but now there's a turret built. Oh, but there's a lot of wraiths, being produced here. Cloak is on both sides. Level 2 upgrades being done by Snail. Snail actually pushing Crazio out of the choke, but now Goliath's on the field pushing those wraiths back again. Looks like Snail's starting to get some control towers, so we might start to see a switch into something like battle cruisers here. Now wraiths going ahead and targeting down the expansions of Crazio, which I don't think should really be too much of a problem. Because, I mean, really it's about your main and about that CC, right? That has, like, all of the fastest mining that you can get out of. So there's a trap tank here. It's going to go ahead and just be sieged there. This starport positioning has now blocked that tank in. And yeah, we do see the battle cruisers for Snail starting to pop out here, but there's just a lot. Ground units. Has EMP been researched? I wonder. EMP is on the way for Crazio, so going to be able to counter the Yamato of the battle cruisers if that is. Yep, and that is researched by Snail. Nice defense matrix, keeping that Wraith alive there. These battlecruisers trying to charge forward, and I think Snail is realizing that, you know what, it's worth losing these battlecruisers to start battling this back, because I could just replace, right? Like, this is fastest, I don't have to worry about running out of resources, I can just clear and charge forward. Trying to pull that damaged battlecruiser back, keep it alive a little bit longer, does go down. But just looking at the army here, we've got 6 battlecruisers out right now. But Crazio doing a good job in this open space of just targeting down the battlecruisers there. The vessel getting picked off there. EMP is researched, but I don't think we've seen an EMP get fired off just yet. That vessel there pretty damaged, and yet Crazio taking over the middle of the map here, throwing down turrets wherever it can. What are the upgrades right now? It looks like plating 2 and ship armor 2. Okay, now we've got the start of the Yamato being fired here to lower the tank count, it looks like, but I don't know if Snail's going to really want to start maybe trying to move forward with their tank army. But pushing back now out of the choke, we've got another group of battlecruisers coming up here. We have a total of 19 on the field for Snail. Pushing this back to the middle now, doing some, gaining some ground here. More battlecruisers in production, but supply blocked currently. As battlecruisers fall, there are more in the production queues being started. Now in this open space, just kind of getting hit from all sides. These Marines, though, I'd love to see them actually commit into just trying to get some damage on these battlecruisers instead of like sort of falling back, because they're not really doing much in this fight right now if they're not actually firing on the battlecruisers. Trying to return home here, and actually now moving the tanks forward here to the other side of the gap. So, oh, a couple of there was a dropship, it looks like, of Goliaths here that trying to do some damage back behind the lines with these tanks moved forward, but yeah, the tank support should help the battlecruisers because it'll keep Goliaths, in theory, back. But Cloaked Wraith here, without the science facility or vessel, the Cloaked Wraiths are able to deal some damage to these battlecruisers, but we've got more out now. There are 13 on the field currently for Snail. Snail trying to just battle for some position here. Needs to wait for, I think, a few more battlecruisers. There is some damage on a few of them, but now with as many tanks as Snail has, it seems like Crazio's not really able to like advance on the position here. Couple of Cloaked Wraiths there getting some shots in. Now, with supply at 200 again, Snail's trying to move forward, moving the tanks forward, but the tanks are taking some shots here. And we're not replacing tanks, it looks like we're just producing battlecruisers. But they're slowly clearing the center of the map. And like slowly gaining control of it. But there are production facilities from each of the expansions of Crazio, so Crazio going to be able to you know, sort of bring units from all sides, but the battlecruiser is able to breathe a sigh of relief thanks to the tanks underneath, keeping the ground army of Crazio off. But there are ghosts now. Do we have lockdown? We do. We have lockdown, we have cloak. I don't think sight range for the ghosts is. Crazio diving in now. I'm gonna go ahead and back off a bit. We haven't seen. Oh, there is a lockdown battlecruiser here now. So lockdown is in the works. But there was only one lockdown that was able to go off. Lockdown pretty expensive energy-wise. It seems like the ghosts in general just did not exactly have the energy for it. Now, Snail is like slowly moving this ball of Terran toward Crazio's main. Other Cloaked Wraith getting a few shots in there before being picked off thanks to the scan. Battle cruisers of their own coming out for Crazio now, but it's just one. It's going to go ahead back for repairs. We have his second one coming out here, so we've got 3 battle cruisers on the field, 24 Goliaths, 26 Marines, 8 Ghosts. No medics, but I don't think medics would really make much of a difference here. We've got a Yamato coming out, taking out that battle cruiser. Engineering Bay gets sniped there. Just got didn't mean to get the tank started, just wanted to get the health on the battle cruisers here. And yeah, I'm not sure like how another lockdown going down. Disabling one of those battle cruisers for a moment. I'm not sure how Snail is going to really press forward here, where they should necessarily go. I imagine they're going to want to try and clear the top left, but more Yamatos being fired here. There are no science vessels out for Crazio right now, so Crazio, there's a lot of ghosts though. 11 ghosts. Can lock down 11 battle cruisers. Actually, I think technically 22, because I think lockdown's like 100 energy, and ghosts can have 200, and if you get the upgrade, I think 250. So they could lock down 2 battle cruisers each potentially. Snail slowly making some headway here. Like slowly pushing this forward. Oh, and there's a drop here at the main, actually clearing a lot of workers. Almost all of the workers for Snail, but Snail has so much money and gas that I don't know that this really makes much of a difference, but wow. 4 workers left for Snail. But really, that's just more supply for battle cruisers, hey? Because they've got so much money and gas. That was a sneaky drop there. I'm glad I just looked back there in Snail's base and saw that. But yeah, I think that actually helps Snail a bit because it lets Snail get like a stronger fighting force, a larger fighting force. Snail has now pushed their way back to the mouth of Crazio's main. Using those tanks to protect the battle cruisers from the ground army of Crazio. Few SCVs being produced here to sort of help with the mining, because, I mean, the minerals can run out. Even if you've got 15,000, like, you know, they can run to 0 if the game goes long enough here. Yeah, the way that Snail is pushing, though, and with this large battlecruiser force, now that those workers were killed, like, there's a science vessel, too. I'm not sure where it is. I haven't seen it. Like, has not joined up with the army, unless it has. Oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, Yeah, a lot of battle cruisers. A lot of tanks just slowly moving, inching towards the main of Crazio. And now with a large chunk of the Goliath army stuck in another base, this battlecruiser army able to charge forward a bit here, but some of it's charging directly into some Goliaths here, but I think there's just too many battlecruisers. I don't think Snail really even needs to make any more workers, just pump battlecruisers and clear out these bases. These battlecruisers just wrecking right now. But there's no anti-air here defending these tanks, so this one battlecruiser of Crazio is going to come and start picking off some tanks. Going to have to pull back a few battlecruisers, it looks like, maybe. But now they're going back up to the top, so they're not actually being pulled back. Okay, because there's another contingent here of freshly made battlecruisers that were able to push that one back and save some more of those tanks. I'm not sure how, like, as a Zerg, you would handle this. Or even as a Protoss, necessarily, like... a couple of lockdowns going down. Trying to clear these side bases here before tackling the main, it looks like. Which could work in Snail's favor, but... I would be a little bit worried because it allows the anti-air to concentrate here, but they are going to trip up on themselves here. And will get, like, stuck, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. Now, having cleared this top middle and top right, trying to clear this right side base, but there's a bit more there than expected, but nice contain going on here. I feel like if Crazio was more willing to throw units into the tanks, like, they could potentially clear some of these contains. Yeah, it seems like Crazio, at least in this situation, is having issues with just committing forces, right? It's at 200-200. Like, you need to just start throwing units away and replacing them as they die, or else you're just kind of going to get choked out like this here. Slowly but surely. I'm not sure where Snail is looking to maybe commit. Looks like looks like they've decided to slowly push into the main here. Yeah, like, see what's happening here. Science Vessel gets picked off again, but... nice little line being formed there. Oh, it was a nice line, but that one's like, I'm gonna be more forward. But yeah, so Snail able, like, If these SCVs would charge forward and take some shots from the tanks while like these tanks move forward and then siege, this could be busted, and then Crazio could just charge into here and like force this to come back, right? But because it's not doing that, like there's some tactical things that, and this is just in general for the AIs, right? There's some tactical things that humans can see, like, oh, I could maybe bust these tanks here if I were to send cannon fodder in first. Like, AIs don't really do a lot of those little engagement strategies that humans might, but there's a lot of stuff that the AIs can do that humans can't do because of the amount of micro that they have. But it's not easy. Like, I'm saying that it's not easy to like oh, you know, just do XYZ and it's fixed. Like, it's not as simple as that, because like, well, now you might have an AI that's too willing to throw their units away, right? So it's just a very tricky problem to solve in general. It's very easy as a human too to throw your units away in a way that's not going to benefit you, even though you thought it might. Yeah, with this, I think Snail is going to clean up this main. Go ahead and speed things up to 4x here, as most of the main is broken here for Crazio. There's like 2 workers for Snail. They're not even mining minerals at this point. Actually, what is he building here? A supply depot. Oh, because he actually lost a couple buildings that can get up to 200. The main pretty much clear here. Going to go ahead and turn their attention to the base where Crazio has been contained. Crazio trying to set up new buildings. It's actually pretty much converted this into like a new base almost already, but it has 100 supply. And this being fastest, they're just not going to be able to come back, I don't think. The drop on the workers that Crazio did was really cool too, but might have come like a little too late, and then Crazio just couldn't get the bank that Snail had built up to actually be spent. And so with that, Crazio will take the win here. Or sorry, not Crazio, Snail will take the win here. It's a very, very long, cool game on fastest between human and AI, and next we've got another human and AI game. This is an anonymous AI, which I suspect is Crazio, spawning as the Yellow Terran down at the bottom rate of Fighting Spirit. And then Snail spawning as the Brown Protoss at the top left. I've also realized that there's no background music for this cast, so yeah, I forgot to put the background music on, and we're doing this in one take. Sorry about that. Ooh, boy. This is just screaming of amateur hour, isn't it? It's all good though. We've got the lovely soothing Protoss warping in sounds to keep us company here. Terra now coming out with the scout. She's doing a cross scout first. Oh no, just checking the middle for proxy. Okay, and then going up to the top right. Well, it looks like our Snail hero here is going for 1 gate core. I'm gonna go ahead and scout with the probe. Kind of wonder with the PvT how gas steals have kind of become pretty popular. I wonder how a lot of AIs would respond to their gas being stolen. I mean, typically you're not going to see it on like a 4-player map. I don't know if you could really do it on the 2-player maps that are in the AI pool. But if there was a map like Eclipse that they could play on, which is a map where you see a lot of the gas stealing these days, I think, it would be interesting to see. Now, there's a Dragoon out. Bunker is down for Crazio. Shop on the way. Snail was chasing that scout SCV. Goes ahead and diverts to sit outside of the natural here. Is range on the way. Range is done. So the Snail player trying to get the Dragoon's position just right to fire on the bunker. Outside of the Marine range, not quite able to get it. And we'll go ahead and just go ahead and back off. Looks like we're going to get some Reaver play here as the robotics support bay is done. Shuttle is almost done here. And then after that, we should see if there's the Reaver getting started. We also have the observatory coming down now. There's no expansion from Crazio yet. Looks like getting ready to take it. Expansion feels a bit late, but I think that's because there were some minerals put down for an academy to get scanned. And this eBay was obtained very early, and that just kind of pushes this expansion back. So maybe not optimal play per se, but very, very safe play. No Dark Templar is going to come in and kill Crazio this game. Where is the Reaver shuttle? Turret's going down in preparation for any shenanigans, which we can see the shenanigans are looking for a way to start. 2 tank shots going off on that Reaver. So the shuttle pulling back here, that Reaver being heavily damaged. It looks like there was no tank or no Dragoon in the shuttle to take shots for the Reaver. The Reaver actually maybe looking to come in on this left side here, but the turrets are pretty well positioned. The shuttle gonna get caught here, but there's no ground units really. Oh, the tank pops like just in time. But the tank ignores the shuttle and goes up towards the front, which gives this Reaver... Oh, not... Scarab just kind of gets stuck. Yeah, since nothing's coming to deal with the shuttle, it's able to just keep... Oh, but then it gets caught by that tank. And Crazio going ahead and fighting that back. Now, Crazio does have this natural here to mine from, so it was mining during that little escapade, but it was pretty interesting behavior how the tanks were just completely ignoring the shuttle. Where typically you would be chasing the shuttle a bit, right? Because you're expecting something like a Reaver to drop out of it. Now there's vultures on the back end and the front end, kind of like dancing around these 4 Dragoons. Meanwhile, back home, Snail building up an army, keeping some back to protect against any potential vultures. We have Templar Archives, we have gateways coming down. So we'll see if the Snail is going to be going for... also, because this is an autonomous AI, that means that this is a ranked game. 4 MMR points on the Snail ladder. I wonder what's in that shuttle. Got more mines being put down here by Crazio. What are the upgrades look like here? Like, what is Crazio going for? Looks like +1 weapons is just about done. +1. Oh, looks like there was another Reaver drop here in the main, which dealt some damage. Looks like a depot may have died. Armory's taken some damage. Some of the factories have taken a bit of damage. Arbiter Tribunal is on the way. Now we have Crazio here moving out with a pretty low supply push, only at 115 supply. Let's see, is this push going to continue to move forward, or... Looks like it is moving forward here. Pathos army choosing to not engage just yet. Crazio getting to the bridge here, and now Protoss having to jump in on this here. Vulture's doing a great job of picking off the... Well, I was saying they were doing a good job, but the army just evaporating there. I just think there just wasn't enough army for Crazio to actually be making this push. Supply was looking kind of low. But that said, Crazio's supply is still higher, but also has more workers. So Protoss has the Arbiters out now, though. Stasis is done, recall being researched, so I think the situation is still looking pretty good for Snail. Snail needs to take another base, though, as Crazio is on 3, and equal base Protoss against against Terran is not going to be the strongest. Crazio making another move out here. What are the upgrades? Looks like 3-2 is on the way, so this is a 2-1 army. There's Zealots being picked off. Looks like counterattack here at the 3rd being done by Snail, but this natural is going to be taken out by Crazio. I think this trade might favor Crazio a bit more. The Arbiter gets picked off. Tanks pulling back here. Yeah, now the Vulture's able to get up into the main. Gonna run. The main runs out, though, so Snail down to just 1 mining base, while Crazio has 2 as the 3rd of Crazio falls. Some tanks returning to the fight here in the main. Got a couple more Arbiters being made here by Snail. Little stasis on these 3 tanks here. Pretty cute, but Snail being forced to run back up the ramp here. Keep production alive. Just 1 mining base to 2. Crazio, or actually 3, this 3 o'clock base here, getting up and running by Crazio. Actually, what time? This is one take, but I might be able to put background music. I think I've got time to edit some background music, and so I think I'll... Maybe I don't. I don't know. I will debate after. So... You may have been hearing music this whole time, but then I talked about there not being any music, or you might not hear any music. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we've got the tanks firing down here. This is... Even if I edit in music, it's still one take, because I'm recording this all in one go, so it's all good. But yeah, I don't think there's a way, really, that Snail can come back from here with just the 1 base. Not really able to get an army. 36 supply to 126, so it ends up working out for Crazio. I was a bit worried about the... I mean, that first push did fizzle out, I think, because of the supply. But then, I'm not sure if maybe Snail's macro, or what exactly was the tipping point. I'd have to kind of go back and watch this again to see like what allowed that second push to just kind of go out. I think part of it was just Snail never got above 3 bases while Crazio was on 3 bases, and like, yeah, they did that counter, but they really needed to pull those units home. I think if they pulled those units home and defended and got a 4th, they probably would have been in a much better position, and maybe even taken a 5th as well, since Crazio was going to be going up to 4 bases pretty soon with that 3rd established. But that was a very cool game. Let's go ahead and check out our last game of today, which is going to be another human versus AI game. We have Snail spawning as the orange Protoss down at the bottom right, and this is another ranked game. We have anonymous AI spawning as the brown Terran down at the bottom left, which I suspect is again Crazio. This time we are on circuit breakers, which we have not seen yet today. Nice big open area here in front of the natural with these two bridges here. And then there's also this path here, which will probably be seeing a bit more action between them. There's also this high ground here down onto the low ground mineral 3rd. And then you've got the bases here that have the minerals on both sides and the gas. So, and then similar thing down here and up here. So it looks like we are getting a 12 Nexus. out of our Snail player this time. It's a very strong macro build. Some might call it like macro cheese. Looks like we're actually getting a 2 barracks from Crazio. Interesting. So we might see some early aggression up against this 12 Nexus. We have 2 gateways as well coming down. And the gas. And yeah, Crazio has scouted and sees what's going on. So I wonder if these 2 barracks are in response to seeing that 12 Nexus. Although the barracks are pretty far back, so that just increases the distance that the units will have to travel to get to Pathos. Academy on the way along with the depot here. It looks like Crazio moving down into the natural here. Will they be aggressive with these Marines? They could do some work, throw down a bunker in the natural of Pathos if they pull some SCVs with it as well, but I don't know if that style of play is really in the AI scene yet. We've got Comsat coming out. At this point now, I think we've got a medic out. So yeah, this is looking like it's going to be a bio push, but it's going to be coming a little bit late here. Stim is done. And now we have range on the way. We've got 2 Robos. Double Robo. Interesting. I wonder if... and then Snail's throwing down cannons here, so I wonder if Snail knows, okay, like, bio play is coming. This should protect me. I feel like if this bio had moved sooner, before like the 6-minute mark here, a couple of Marines getting picked off there by the cannons, this would have been a lot more powerful. Could have had like a factory behind it where vultures are streaming into. Got 4 medics, quite a bit of Marines here. A couple more cannons coming down. Reavers on the way, so yeah, Crazio's really just gonna have to transition into mech play, I think, to handle this. These Reavers, double Reavers dropped in the main of Crazio could deal some damage because there really aren't any tanks. Oh, no, okay, I see that. Of course, tank pops out, right? But like Crazio is very forward with the army. I'm dropping them on the low ground here. Gonna lose. Oh, I bet the shuttle got caught by this Wraith here. So Crazio shuts down the double Reaver play into the main with the Wraiths. Really good catch there by Crazio. But another couple of shuttles on the way. Looks like some units being elevated onto the other side here. Maybe gonna try and hit this from both sides. As the cannons get pushed down here now. Yeah, the Reaver gets picked off. The elevator doesn't quite achieve the effects that Snail, I think, was looking for, and now the final cannons are starting to fall. Marines are going down, though, and if the tanks don't really have anything to support them... There's just 1 tank left. I think if Snail can get that... Nice Reaver shots going off on the Marines and medics. Crazio is kind of forced to... Well, actually, I don't think they were really forced to go home, but they are going to return home at this point. kind of end that push, regroup, sticking with the bio though. Oh, Wraith finding a spot to harass the probes here. There are a few Dragoons. Oh, there's no Observer, is there? Observatory on the way now. So these Wraiths able to get in here, cloak, and that Reaver might get lost. If this second Wraith would cloak, they could probably get in there. Oh, but now the Observer pops, so that will put an end to the cloaked Wraith harass there, but it was pretty cute there by Crazio with that cloak. And now Snail trying to, I feel like the Wraith could probably pick off the Observer too. But pulling the Wraiths home, doing some repair. I'm gonna drop to harass this third. Loses one of the Reavers in a shuttle. Loses the other Reaver though. There is a drop. I can't really see it all that well down here, but it was another Reaver drop in the main as well. Goes ahead and gets picked off. Worker count still very healthy for Crazio though. And Irradiate on that Zealot just became a marine eraser there with that Irradiate. But there's just more units streaming in here for Crazio. Crazio actually ahead on bases compared to Snail. Now the second being shelled from afar. Snail, there's 23 workers in the main. More Reavers on the way, but I think, oof, those medics really took that Scarab hit. Wraiths diving in on the shuttle there. More Radiates going down on the Protoss units, and I think with this natural falling, that is going to be the game. Snail goes ahead and taps out, gives the GG to our anonymous AI, which is most likely Crazio. So, real quick here, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Links down below for the Snail, or starting off, I think Snail will be down there, but also the SSCAIT Twitch page. There's also the Discord you can join if you want to maybe try making an AI yourself. There's a lot of resources available. In addition to that, you know, all the authors typically hang out on the SSCAIT Discord, so if you run into any issues or have any questions, there's usually someone around that can help you out. Again, thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like if you enjoyed the cast, subscribe, all of that fun YouTuber stuff that people always say. But again, we do really appreciate the support. And until next time, take care, everyone.